Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show this Sunday the 25th of April 2021. Thank you for tuning in. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you guys what I'm expecting. I think when the Fed, when this inflation starts to hit, the Fed is actually more scared of inflation than they are deflation. Because the Fed has one tool, and that's creating new currency units. That's their biggest and most powerful tool. They can't fight inflation with that tool. They only make it worse. But deflation is totally under their control. And so when I think that they see the inflation coming, really start to see it, consumer price index, things starting to go up beyond their control, in probably within the next 90 days, they're going to try something to cool it down. I think what they're going to try is they're going to try to tighten. Simply put, I think the Fed's going to tighten probably in the next 90 to possibly within the, maybe it might be a little bit further out. It could be as much as 6 months out, but I think tightening is going to come. Some sort of tightening. It's going to be a panic move to try to cool down inflation. And I think that they've been allowing the long end of the yield curve to rise up, the 10-year to rise up near 2%. I think they've been allowing that to happen. But, what's going to be the net effect of them doing that? When they panic and they try to cool things down, cool down the rate of inflation, is going to be the markets are going to roll over so fast it's going to make your eyes spin in your head. It's going to do unbelievable amount of damage to the financial system. It's already been damaged. I mean, it's already down. It's just basically it's right now it's on life support. So I was listening to Kaiser report, Max Kaiser, and he was talking to Stacy, and he said that yes, they could do like Paul Volcker did, and raise interest rates up to 20%. Well, I happen to agree with him. They could, but they won't. Just think what 20% interest rate would do to the economy. It wouldn't be an economy. Anything, right? We're ready for such a big bust up. There's so many big bubbles blowing up out of proportion right now that almost it wouldn't take that much to prick them all and have them all burst. And if the Fed does try some sort of tightening, maybe in 90 days from now, or 3 months from now, or maybe in 6 months from now, and somewhere along that time period, if the Fed tries to raise interest rates on the short end of the yield curve by, say, 25 basis points, they're just trying it. They're going to see what it's going to do, and maybe it'll slow down this inflation a little bit. I think all these bubbles are going to start to burst because they're so overinflated they can't withstand anything. And then the Fed will panic in the opposite direction. So first they'll panic because they see the inflation coming, and they're like, we got to do something. Okay, well, let's try a little bit of a tightening. So try a little bit of a tightening to put the screws down on inflation, and all the bubbles will start to pop. And the bubbles can pop so fast in this modern computerized environment, modern computerized markets. They're basically computerized markets. The damage that can be done overnight, then the Fed will panic in the opposite direction. They'll say, well, that was a big mistake. We should never have done that. Now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to have to prop everything back up again. I think this is going to be the final play before the great print. I think we're already actually in the great print. But I think that they're gonna back off a little bit, It's almost like a game of chicken, I mean, this is a game they used to play back in the 1950s and stuff, with cars. One car would be speeding at the other car, and the first guy to swerve off, he'd have to give his car to the other guy that won. the cars be heading head first at each other at like 80 miles an hour. The first guy to swerve, well, he'd have to give his car to the guy that stayed the line. You know, this is what the Fed's doing right now. They're on a course that they know is going to lead to destruction of the financial system through hyperinflation. You know? Will they swerve? I think yes, they will. At a certain point, when they really see things getting out of control, inflationary, very soon, I think they're going to swerve. It's going to be the biggest mistake they ever made. Because it's going to cost them. Because in order to get things back on track, they're going to have to, and they're going to create a panic situation when they do that. When they deviate from their course that they're on right now. They're going to create a panic situation for themselves to have to try to get things back on course again. And in doing so, to get things back on course again, they're going to have to pump so much liquidity that it's going to bring the hyperinflation even faster. In other words, if they stayed on course, and even though they see the inflation rate ticking up, and it's scaring them, if they stayed on course, this would take longer. If they try to repair it, it's going to bring the inflation in actually quicker. If they try to repair it by tightening. Because then they're going to realize then at that point that they've completely lost control. And any sort of control they're going to gain back is going to come through their printing press, through being able to create more monetary units, to regain control. Massive amounts of monetary units. The demise of the dollar is underway. It's deep. We're deep into it now. And so what's going to happen then? Okay, say 3 months out from now, the Fed decides to tighten. And then the system starts to shut down very rapidly, and everything, the bubbles all start to burst. And then they decide to turn around and and pump it back up again. So then they pump it back up again. What happens next? Your gold and your silver, your real physical metals, are going to, at the very least, detach from the paper. And they're going to disappear. You're not going to be able to buy any. The price is going to go up, like, you know, when a lot of people want something. What happens to the price when everybody wants it and there's none available for sale? Well, the price is going to go up and the people who have it are not going to sell. So what then? Because after that happens and there's no silver available physical to buy and there's no gold available to buy anywhere for anybody, even the rich guys can't allocate any. But there's liquidity everywhere because the Fed by that point will be pumping out more because they'll have to reinflate the bubbles again. And people will want to get out of the dollar at that point. Not just everybody will want to get out of the dollar at that point. Not just the 2% or 3% of the people who know about these things. People like watch my channel know what's going on. But everybody then, your friends, your neighbors that don't know nothing about this stuff, they're all going to want to get out of the dollar when they see the hyperinflation really starting to close in on them. They're going to say, hey, you know, I'm going to buy whatever I'm going to buy. And it's going to be, prices will be really moving then. You think they're moving now? Nothing compared to what's going to be happening then. Especially food prices. So, we got a situation then where there's tremendous amounts of money out there chasing after and trying to get out of the dollar. And they can't buy gold and silver anymore because it's all unobtained. You can't not obtain it. So what are they going to turn to? With all that massive amounts of liquidity? Cryptos. That's what I think. I think they're going to turn to. And, you know, cryptos at that point could go up so quick. The more the Fed prints, the more money they put into the system, the more it's going to flood into crypto at that point. it's probably an awful lot of the liquidity is going to find its way to crypto, and they're going to be faced with a hard choice. Do we shut these cryptos down because now they're getting too big to fail and have it be a disaster to the financial system, or do we let them continue to run? Boy, this is an interesting situation that's happening right now in real time. If you guys don't think this is interesting, well, this is as interesting as it gets, guys. This is very interesting. What exactly is going to transpire in the next, and we're not talking in the long distant future either. So, what about cryptos in the interim, in the period between? Well, you know, Bitcoin right now went through a Bitcoin and all the other cryptos have went through a correction, a major correction. I think the correction's ending right now. I think that's it. I don't think we're going to get many more. I think it's done. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just think it's done. And I think she's going to start to heat up again, the cryptos. That's what I think's happening. You know, that's what I think's going on. And I think over the next 3-4 months, it's going to heat up quite a bit. Might set new highs. Might be up around, by the time the Fed decides to go into this tightening thing that I'm talking about, cryptos might be up around 75,000 for Bitcoin. It wouldn't surprise, let's put it this way, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. And then the Fed does this tightening. Well, I can tell you right now, it'll smash crypto. What'll it do to gold and silver? I'm not so sure. Gold and silver might actually catch a bid if the Fed decides to tighten. But I'm pretty sure the crypto will take, especially if it's up over 60,000, if it's up 60, 70, 80,000, I think it's going to get smashed when the Fed tightens, along with an awful lot of the other bubbles that are going to be wanting to pop. You know, and crypto is in a major bubble. See, there's a big difference. I want to tell you guys a big difference between gold and silver and cryptos right now. Crypto is in a bubble. The housing market is in a bubble. The auto market right now is going into a massive bubble. All of the corporate bond market, everything, it's all in a bubble. There's bubbles everywhere. But gold and silver are not in a bubble. Nowhere even near being in a bubble. You know, it costs somewhere around $20 now to mine an ounce of silver. Just to get it out of the ground and get it into that coin form that you know, when you take in all the things that they have to do. One of the things they have to do is exploration for new mining sites. That's one of the costs that goes into the coin. Minting it is another cost of mining it out of the ground, digging the earth out, crushing the rock down into powder, putting it in big vats where they have to add chemicals and stuff and separating it, heating it again to get it to 999 pure. They have to take off the dross and everything else. Awful lot of work involved. And the all-in production cost, by the time they get it there to that coin store or wherever you purchase it, about $20. That's real cost associated with that. And so, you know, you're not paying that much over the mining production cost, what it costs them to get it out of the ground. That's not a bubble, guys. That's not a bubble. It's not even close to a bubble. And it's the only asset class out there that's not in a bubble. Everything else is in a bubble. Real estate. People have been watching their house prices go up $5,000. This week they're up 5,000 more, Martha. Last week up 5,000 more again this week. My house is worth 5,000 more this week. Another week, 5,000 more again this week. Well, that's a bubble. Massive bubble. So, you know, the Fed is caught between a rock and a hard place. They do not want to go to a hyperinflation. They really don't want to go there. And they don't want to go into the next great downturn either. They want to keep these bubbles expanding. What are they going to do? Well, there's nothing they can do. They're going to have to stay the course. But what I'm saying is, in the next 30 days or so, I'm expecting them to deviate from the course and for us to get major turmoil everywhere. So as far as buying opportunities come, you know, think about this for a minute. Say the Fed does like I say, and in the next 90 days they decide to go through some sort of a tightening, and Bitcoin falls off huge. Well, I've just told you guys, on the other side of that, when they try to repair their damage, to the moon for cryptos. Because then it'll be absolutely proven beyond a doubt to all these people out here who are deflationists, and they don't know. And see, right now, all the people out there, an awful lot of people, are divided on this issue. That some of them are saying, hey, this is all going to deflate. The Fed can't continue with this. And other ones out there saying, no, we're in for a hyperinflation. We're in, like, I'm on that camp, you know, we're in for a hyperinflation and stuff. And there's a big argument going on right now. And both sides are very intelligent people, but they just don't know which way it's going to go. Well, I think we're going to have our little deflationary downturn. And so all these deflation people out there, they're going to be like, hey, we were right, you know. But, you know, it's only going to go so far. Because the Fed can't let it go too far. Because where would it stop? The markets are ready to go down 80, 90%. And we can't withstand that. The system can't withstand that. So this means that there's a limiting factor of how far this is going to go when this deflation comes. And what's on the other side of that is what they're not seeing. What's on the other side of that is when they have to correct that. When the Fed fights the deflation. And the Fed's got the tools. Never. Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you one parting thing before I go here. Never underestimate the power of the Fed and the ability that they have to create currency. And the new programs and stuff that they could find that you've never heard of before because they haven't happened yet. Things that they can do. Anybody out there who says the Fed's out of tools, they don't know the Fed. You guys have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll catch you this next coming week. And give me a likes and a thumbs up and all that good stuff. And we'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.